Now that we have PHP running on our computer, what we want to do is install an editor to edit our PHP pages. And you can use any editor you want, even Notepad, but I'm going to show you how to install one that is used in most of the projects that I've been on, and that's Eclipse PDT. Download. Eclipse was mainly an editor for Java, but with this PDT release, it has become also a very good and almost standard PHP editor as well. So just click on the all-in-one Windows and then click on the mirror that it suggests to you, and you'll be ready to download. I'm downloading to my download directory here, save file, okay. And it's coming down the wire. So now the Eclipse file has been downloaded, and just like the XAMPP file, what we want to do is go to the directory where it is currently residing, which in my case is the download directory. And we want to right-click, extract files again, and just like XAMPP, put it in C:, and make sure you remember the backslash, and enter. And all of the files will be copied into a new directory called Eclipse, which is under the root directory on the C drive. Now, Eclipse is not an application that you install and uninstall. It's simply an exe file that will live in that directory. So all we need to do after we unzip all the files is go to that directory and just double-click on the exe file, and it'll start. This is actually a very nice feature because then you can have multiple Eclipses, for instance, if you have one for Java, one for PHP, and etc. So I'm going to go to C, and here we see Eclipse, double-click, and you'll see a big Eclipse icon. So I'll double-click that, and it's loading. And you will see the eclipse.exe icon, double-click that, and you will see a message that says that you don't have Java if you don't have Java installed on the machine. If you don't get this message, then Eclipse will start and more power to you. But I'm going to show you how to install Java for the case that you have a new computer and have not installed Java on it yet. So let's go ahead and just click this message away. Go into our browser, do Control-T for a new tab, and go to developers.sun.com/download. It's downloads with an S at the end. So let's go find the appropriate download that we need to run Eclipse. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because it's not always clear which download you need out of the 100 seemingly different Java downloads that you have. Go ahead and click on Java SE, and then on Java SE JDK 6. I always like this picture. How comfortable could that be, sitting in a tree with the laptop? Anyway, once you get to this page, you want to go down to JDK 6, Update 16. Make sure that it's JDK and not JRE. Click Download, and then you need to specify which operating system you're on. We select Windows. I agree, continue. Then scroll down to, yes, where it says Java SE Development Kit 6U16. This 16 might be different in the future if the version numbers go up, but go ahead and click that. And then you don't need the Sun Download Manager. Just go ahead and actually click on this link, which will give you the file to download. Save file, and in my case it's downloading to the downloads directory. In your case, you might have to choose where it downloads. But go ahead and wait until that is completely on your computer. So now Java is, or the exe file to install Java is on the hard drive. Right-click it and click Open, and we'll begin the install. Basically, you just have to click next, next, next all the way through here. Very straightforward. So accept, next, and wait for it to copy everything, install everything. If you have any other application on your computer which requires Java, you probably already have it. So the chances are good that Java is installed on your computer. But if it isn't, it's good to know exactly where to get it and that it's so easy to install once you get the right download file. So here we go. Install to there. Always accept the defaults. This may take a few minutes. Okay. I believe back in the old days, Java used to be part of Windows, but they had some kind of legal case, and it is not packaged with Windows anymore, so you always have to install it after you install an operating system. So it's good to know how to do it. So it seems to be complete now. We'll click on Finish, close this, and go back to where we had clicked Eclipse before, and it said we didn't have Java. Now when we double-click Eclipse, we have Java, which is super. Now, we are here where it is asking us where we want our workspace. And you want to put your workspace where you have all of your PHP websites. So I'm pressing Windows E to get the Explorer. Double-click on C. We're going to XAMPP. And in htdocs, if you remember, that is where we had our test PHP site. So this is where we're going to point our workspace. Now what I'm actually going to do here for all of the tests that we'll be doing is create a new folder, and we'll call it Webs. And I'm just going to drag this test PHP file that we did into Webs, so it's now in there. And under Webs, we will put all of our PHP webs that we'll be doing in this video tutorial. So let's put this in test. So our first one will be test. We'll drag that into there. So now we have this directory, which is mapped to localhost, webs, which is where all of our webs will be, and our first web, which is called test, and inside that is a file called test.php. Just so that we see that this is being mapped correctly to our localhost, we'll type in localhost. That went to localhost XAMPP splash. So if we take XAMPP splash away and say webs test.php, we see that we have our test page again. So where we want to put our workspace is in localhost webs, and localhost webs maps to XAMPP htdocs webs. And I'm going to copy that with Control-C and go into the Eclipse and do Control-V. And say use this as the default and do not ask again. Okay. And let Eclipse load for the first time. When you see this screen, and if it says keep blocking or unblock on Windows XP, just say unblock. You only have to do that once. And when you see this screen, let me resize this here real quick. When you see this screen, go ahead and click on the workbench. And you are now at the start layout for Eclipse. And just to make sure that this works and we can make projects within our workplace, which is mapped now to XAMPP webs, I'm going to do a right click here and say new PHP project. And now for the project name, I'm going to type in test, which is the same name as the directory. I'll just go ahead and say finish. Now we're saying here create new project in workspace. When I click finish, I have a project in Eclipse called test. When I open it, I see that it has those files in it. So now this project is mapped to this directory. And anything I create or change in this project here in Eclipse is going to change files here. Let's go ahead and test that. I double click on test.php and I should see the file that we created in Notepad now in Eclipse. And I'll change it in Eclipse. Hello world from Eclipse. Control S to save it. And now we'll go back to the page, do a refresh, and it says hello from Eclipse. So Eclipse is installed, and we can make projects by right-clicking here and saying New Project, and it will create directories in the directory here, Webs. If you type in a name of a project that doesn't exist already, then it will create the directory. Let me show you. Test2. Finish. Close this. We'll open test2. I'll go back to the webs and we see test2 is here. These are only files that have to do with the Eclipse to manage itself. I can right click here, say new file, file name, for instance, index.php, enter, and print this is the start page of test2 web, for instance. And now we'll go back to localhost and we'll say test2. And it gives us the index page, which is the default page. So there you have it. You have Eclipse installed and can create projects. In the next videos, I'll show you a number of ways to use Eclipse so that you get proficient at creating files and searching and making templates and that kind of thing.